As you probably know, this is a hymn to Hanuman. And on the very basic level, what it does is describe many of his qualities and many of the events that happen in the Ramayana with Ram and the war against the demons, against Ravana's armies. Ravana represents the ego. He has 10 heads, which represent the 5 senses and the objects. And the ego kidnaps the Shakti because it wants the Shakti. But the funny thing is, in the story, Ravana can't actually, how to say it, get it on with the Shakti. Because unless the Shakti agrees to it, Ravana's head will explode in 1,000 pieces. And of course, Sita would never agree to getting it on with anybody except Ram. And it's a very subtle story. In fact, Sita, it's not even Sita who's kidnapped. It's a heavenly Apsara, one of the heavenly goddesses, who is cursed by Indra. So she had to take a birth, she had to incarnate on earth. And so she switched out with Sita. It's a really cool story. Most people say, oh, how could Ram treat Sita that way? Give yourself a break. Don't get involved with that. It's not like that at all. In fact, like I said, Sita actually is not kidnapped. She just goes into a subtle form. And this other being is kidnapped. And anyhow, so Ram is wandering around forlorn and brokenhearted. He can't find Sita, has no clue where she might be. And in the forest, he meets this monkey who shows up and introduces himself. And at that point, Hanuman is the ambassador of the king of monkeys. And he greets Rama, and because of this, an alliance is made between Rama and the monkeys. And all the monkeys go out in search of Sita, and they can't find her. And there's only one place left on the earth where they haven't looked, where they haven't been able to look, and that's the island of Lanka, which is now called Ceylon. And actually now it's called Lanka again. And so finally Hanuman jumps over the ocean and finds Sita, and then comes back and tells Rama where she is, and then there's a big battle, and the demons, the negative forces, are destroyed. All this, there's a macrocosm and there's a microcosm. All this exists within the body, within the human incarnation as well. Hanuman, in Ayurveda, Hanuman is considered the prana in the body. And he's called the son of the wind god. And the wind and prana is the energy in the body. And that energy is supposed to flow through the 84,000 nadis, or channels, in the body. But many of those channels are blocked by our emotional stuff and all kinds of stuff. Maharaji said, chanting the Hanuman Chalisa can change fate, can change karma, can free us of negative karmas. And the way I think about it now, after a lot of years of thinking about it, is that our emotional stuff is stored in a subtle body, in the nadis. And Hanuman, as the prana, can clear out those channels. So, for instance, you know, all our stuff, our programming is pretty much in our subtle body. All our emotional traumas, our likes, our dislikes, a lot of karmas are stored there. And so through invoking the presence of Hanuman, which is prana in the body as well, that emotional stuff is wiped out, is washed away, opened up. And it frees us from a lot of the stuff that we do with no vote, because we have no vote. Our likes and dislikes, our emotional triggers and all that stuff. So, it's a long hymn. It's very difficult to learn it. You don't have to memorize it. You can read it. You can chant it with or without music. It doesn't have to have music. But when you do this practice, you should definitely feel that you are offering each line to Hanuman, to Maharaji, and that almost like a piece of fruit, like an offering. Each line, every word, every line is a way of connecting with that Atma Shakti, with the energy of your own soul. Every line, Maharaji said, every line of Hanuman Chalisa is Maha Mantra, is the name. Maha Mantra means the name. All the names are Maha Mantra, period. And so all this whole practice is the repetition of the name as well. And you know what he said about the name. Through the repetition of the name, everything is accomplished. Yes, that too, that too, that too. Everything is accomplished. So, and there's a direct correlation between how difficult a practice is and how much benefit you get from doing it. Right? You would figure it would have to be that way. Like the longer mantras, if you do 108 Hare Krishna mantras, that takes a while. If you do 108 Rams, you can do it in about a second and a half. I remember being in India and these sadhus come up, go like, Ram, 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 give me money, Ram, 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 give me money. You know, like that. Doesn't really work. But 108 Gayatri mantras or 108 mantras with a lot of words, that takes. And so it generates more Shakti as well. It generates more movement into your own heart, so to speak. So, do you have the words somewhere? You all have the words? Okay. We're not going to sing 11 Chalisas because we're not gonna. We'll sing a few, and then we'll talk a little bit, and then we'll sing a few more. Okay? Shri Hanumate Namo. Shri Guru Charan Saroja Raja Jamana Mukuru Sudha Varna Raghubara Bimala Jasu Odaya Kupalachari Buddhihin Tanu Janake Sumeram Pavan Kumar Siyaram Balabuddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi Harahu Kales Bikar Syavara Ramachandra Padje Sharanam Jaya Hanuman Gyana Guna Sagar Ekapi Sati Loka Ujagar Ramaduta Tulita Baladhama Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanam Mahavira Bikram Bajarangi Kumartinivar Sumati Kesang Kanchana Varana Viraj Subesa Kanan Kundala Kunshita Kes Hatha Bajra Dvaja Biraje Kande Munja Jane Usaje Shankar Suvan Kesari Nandan Teja Pratapa Mahajagabanda Vidyavan Guni Ati Chatu Ramkaja Kari Beko Prabhu Charitva Suni Beko Rasya Ramalakana Sita Manabasi Sukshma Rupa Dharisya Hindikava Vikata Rupa Dhari Lanka Charava Ima Rupa Dhari Asura Sari Ramachandra Ke Kaja Samvari Laya Sajivana Lakana Jiyaya Shira Guvira Hara Shira Laya Raghupati Kinhi Bahut Barai Tuma Mama Priya Bharatai Samabhai Sahasabadan Tumaro Jasagavan Asakahi Shri Pati Kanta Lagavan Adika Brahma Adi Munisa Arada Sharada Sahita Ahisa Yama Kubera Digapala Jahante Kabiko Bidakahi Sake Kahante Tuma Upakara Sugriva Inkinha Rama Melaya Raja Padatinha Tumaro Mantra Vibhishanamana Lankeshwara Bhaya Sabha Jagajana Sahasra Jo Jana Paravana Ilyota Himadura Palajana Prabhu Mudrika Ile Mukamahi Jaladilange Gaye Charajanai Durga Makaja Jagat Ke Jete Gam Anugrah Tumare Tete Rama Duare Tumara Kavare Otana Agya Bina Pesar Sukla He Tumari Sharana Tumara Chakaka Upodaran Apana Teja Samaro Ape Ino Loka Hanka Tenkampe Utta Pesashana Katana He Ave Mahavira Jabanam Sunam Seroga Hare Sabapira Japata Nirantara Hanumatabira Sankatate Hanuman Churave Anakama Bachana Dhyana Jolave Sabapara Rama Tapasvi Raja Tinake Kaja Sakala Tumasaja Oramanorata Joko Elave Soe Amita Jivana Palapave Charon Yuga Paratapa Tumara Epara Siddha Jagata Ujjayara Sadhu Santa Ke Tumara Kavare Asurane Kandana Rama Dulari Ashta Siddhi no Nidhi Ke Data Savaradina Janaki Mata Ramarasayana Tumare Pasa Sadaro Raghupati Ke Dasa Tumare Bhajan Rama Ko Pave Janama Janama Ke Dukha Bisarave Anta Kala Raghuvara Pura Jai Jahan Janama Hare Bhakta Kahai Or Devata Chittana Darai Hanumata Se Sarva Sukha Kare Sankata Kate Mite Sabapira Jo Sumere Hanumata Balabir Jai 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 Hanuman Gosai Kripa Karo Gurudeva Kinai Jo Satabara Pat कड़ कोई छुट ही बंदी महासुख होए होया पर हनुमान चालीसा होया सिद्धि साकी गणेश तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा नाथ हृदय मंदिर पवन तनय संकट हरण मंगल मूर्ति रूप सिया राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसो सुर भूप यावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरणम मंगल मूर्ति मारुत नंदन सकल अमंगल मूल निकंद मंगल मूर्ति मारुत नंदन सकल मंगल मूल निकंद श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारे रघुबर बिमल जसु जोदाय कुपल चारे बुद्धिहीन तनु जाने के सुमिरम पवन कुमार सिया राम पल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस बेकार यावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरणम जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बलधाम अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नाम महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरण विराज सुबेस कानन कुंडल कुंचित केस हाथ वज्रोर ध्वजा विराजे कंधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया स्वरूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर शिव लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई सहस बदन तुमरो जस गावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीस नारद शारद सहित अहिस ब्रह्म कुबेर दिगपाल जहांते कभी को बिद खाए सके कहांते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवांगीना राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण मान लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जान युग सहस्र जो जन पर बानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जान प्रभु मुद्रिका मुख माहि चल दिलांगे गए अचरज नाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे तेते राम दुआरे तुम्हारा कुआरे होतन आज्ञा बिन पैसारे सब सुख लाहे तुम्हारी शरण तुम्हारा चक काहू को दरण आपन तेज समारो आपे तीनों लोग गते कांपे भूत पिशाच कट नहीं आवे महावीर जप नाम सुनावे नासे रोग हरे सब पीर जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीर संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोए अमित जीवन पल पावे। चारों युग प्रताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि निधि के दाता, असवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पास, सदा रहो रघुपति के दास। ये भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हर भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्त न डरे, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करे। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीर। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छुट ही बंदी महासुख होय। जोया पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होया सिद्धि साकी गौरीस। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, कीजे नाथ हृदय मंदिर। पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप सिया राम। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसो सुरभूप। यावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरणम। मंगल मूर्ति मारुत नंदन, सकल अमंगल मूल निकंदन। मंगल मूर्ति मारुत नंदन, सकल अमंगल मूल निकंदन। So, there we were in India, fresh out of New York, and we didn't know what to do. We recognized that there were certainly a lot of cultural stuff that we were just completely unaware of. And more than that, we wanted to get closer to Maharaji. We wanted to feel closer and spend more time with him. And, but in the early days, he would see us one day and say, okay, come back in a week. A week? You know, and what do we have nothing to do back in Nainital? Walk around, get depressed, smoke some dope, you know, not much to do. But, so one day, where's Ramesh? Is he here? No, he's asleep. He's right there. Oh, you're awake. We came to the temple one day. Every time we came to the temple, they handed us a little booklet, yellow booklet with a picture of a flying monkey on it. I had about 100 of them in my room. And finally, one day, the light went on and I said, hey, what is this? You think, you know. So the guy said, well, it's a hymn to Hanuman. Oh. So we decided we would try to learn it because we knew that if we learned it, we could sing it to Maharaji, and we knew that he secretly wanted to spend more time with the Westerners. But he was having trouble arranging it, so we just thought we'd try to help him. And as it turned out, due to Ram Das's, I don't quite know how to say this. Let me think about it for a second. Let's be compassionate and say, Ram Das's desire to become enlightened faster than the speed of light. He had arranged for one of our Buddhist meditation teachers to come spend the whole rainy season with us, way further up in the mountains, in a town called Kosani. And the idea was that 3 or 4 of us or 5 of us, and Ram Das, we're gonna live in this house together with this guy, and wham bam, thank you ma'am, we were gonna get enlightened. So, what happened was, we got up there, and then we get a letter from our Buddhist meditation teacher saying, sorry, can't make it.
Mother is sick.
Huh?
Mother is sick.
Yeah, his mother was sick, so he couldn't make it. So there we were, 5 hours away from Maharaji for the whole rainy season. And if you think about it, he just transferred us. He just said, out, move. And he moved all the Western, and then all the Westerners that came to the temple, he'd send up, go be with Ram Das. So Ram Das had to actually move out of our house and move across the valley, the little valley, into another place where all these other Westerners came, and it was like Ram Das became the Baba of another little ashram up there. But we were together in this other little house, so we learned the Hindi alphabet. We didn't know it. And then we went through this Chalisa letter by letter and wrote it out. It took about, what, 3 months, huh? We're still counting, you know. And then this guy we met up there, he taught us this melody. And so we practiced. And then we taught it to a bunch of the other Westerners. And we made, on a Tuesday, then now the rainy season is over and we came back down, and we're in Nainital and seeing Maharaji again. We decided that we were going to do the first puja to Maharaji done by Westerners. And when we arranged on Tuesday, which is Hanuman's day, to have 80 pounds of laddus delivered to the temple with all the plates for the puja, the dishes, and the arti lamp and everything. And we were going to sing Hanuman Chalisa to Maharaji on Tuesday. So, and it was a big secret. Nobody, you know, we didn't tell anybody. And of course, we hadn't memorized the Chalisa yet. We were singing it, but we didn't memorize it. So we get to the temple on Monday, and we're sitting outside waiting for Maharaji to come out. And he bursts through the doors of his room. He sits down. He says, Hanuman Chalisa, sing it now. We went running for our books. You know, what are we doing? What are we going to do? And we were standing in front of him, and we started to sing. And I'll never forget. I got to the 6th verse. What was that? I can't go. Anyway, I made a mistake in pronunciation. And he tried to correct me. And I went. And he went, never mind, just sing. And from that moment on, he never corrected anybody, any Westerner anymore, about pronunciation. So that transformed these crazy Westerners into a troupe of performing monkeys. And whenever the Indian people were giving him a hard time, he'd say, "Meow, come on over here." And then we would all gather around them and we would sing Hanuman Chalisa. And you know, in India, they have respect for your airspace. They don't step over you. So we would get around Maharaji and they'd be like locked out behind us. And they couldn't even see him. You know, we're standing there singing and they're like going, what's going on here, you know? So he would do that quite often. And so we got to sing it to him many, many, many times. And you see, we understood that the Indians saw him as Hanuman himself. And they had told us many of their experiences when they actually had a vision of Hanuman with Maharaji. For instance, sometimes someone would come to the temple and like because it was on a pilgrimage place. Many times there were like tour buses. Somebody would come to the temple and they'd go to the Hanuman temple and they'd bow, and instead of seeing Hanuman, they would see a guy sitting there with a blanket on. And they would ask somebody in the temple, who's the guy in the temple sitting, who's that? And they said, what are you talking about? And they go back and look, and there's Hanuman instead of, it was Maharaji giving them a shot. So,
now I can hear the Hanuman Chalisa on Spotify while I'm getting my teeth cleaned in the dentist's office.
Rameshwaras wants you to know that the next time you get your teeth cleaned in the dentist office, you can hear the Hanuman Chalisa on Spotify. So not only will your teeth get pulled out, but you'll lose some bad karmas. So let's see. The funny thing about us learning from the Indian devotees, one of my Guru Bhais told me a story. He said, we saw that the Indian people would come with these very soft apples, and they would cut the apple up in small pieces and offer it to Maharaji. So one day, one of these guys, Balaram Das, decided to do that. He said he came into the room, there were some Indian people there, Indian devotees, and he sat down in front of Maharaji and he cut the apple and he offered it to Maharaji. He said, the look on Maharaji's face was the way you would look if your dog sat up and started talking to you. That's kind of the way he saw us, yeah. So, Hanuman Chalisa it's a hymn, it's an invocation. It's almost like a jigsaw puzzle. Every piece is creating that form of Hanuman within us. Now, what is Hanuman also? Because it's just some monkey that jumps around out there. Maharaji said, Hanuman, Krishna, and Christ are the same. And you know, there's a book called The Unvarnished New Testament, which is a translation of the New Testament from the original Greek. And in the King James, they talk about Holy Spirit, right? But in the original Greek, it's translated as Holy Breath. Very different. Spirit is out there, somewhere else. Breath is in the body. Breath is here, not somewhere else. It's very different. And once again, breath and prana are linked as well. So Hanuman and Christ are very similar. Direct connections to the One. All right, so we'll sing a couple more. Shri Guru okay, wait, before we do that. The first 4 lines or 8 lines are called Chopai. It's a different meter, and it's an introduction to the Hanuman Chalisa. And it's a very important little piece of the puzzle. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nijamanu Mukuru Sudari. So that line, it likens the dust from the lotus feet, from the feet of the Guru, as the pollen from a lotus flower. And it says, I take that pollen-like dust from the lotus feet of the Guru to clean the mirror of my heart. This concept of the mirror, of the heart being a mirror, is very interesting. When we look in a mirror and it's covered with dust and dirt, we see a very distorted, inaccurate view of what's in the mirror, of our own face, because of the dust on the mirror. So we take the pollen-like dust from the lotus feet of the Guru, which is called Charan Amrit, which is consciousness, bliss, reality, love, real love, to clean the mirror of our hearts. And then we begin to sing the praises of Hanuman and Ram. That's why this practice is a purification practice. It cleans the mirror of the heart. Because we're all of us, each one of us, is seeing our own version of what we think is out there. And as many beings as there are in the world, that's how many versions of the world there are. Everybody sees their own subjective reality, as though, because of the dust on the mirror of the heart, the lust, the anger, the greed, the shame, the fear, the selfishness. This is what the dust is. Egoistic stuff. When that's cleared off, cleaned off, you see your true face, you see the soul, which is the same in every single being. That's the one. So we purify, we clean our hearts with these practices. The next line is Buddhihina Tanujan. I know that I don't know shit. That's what it means. I'm ignorant. So I beg you, Hanuman, give me strength, give me intelligence, give me wisdom, and harahu kalesa bikar, remove the impurities in my heart. That's the beginning. That's what this is a propitiation. We are asking for something here. We're asking for help. And then we go ahead and do the Chalisa. So that's the first part. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nichamana Mukuru Sudhara Varano Raghubhara Bimala Jasu Jodhaya Gopalachari Buddhihina Tanu Janake Sumiram Pavana Kumar Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohin Haru Kalesa Bikar Syavara Ramachandra Padaje Sharanam Jaya Hanuman Gyana Guna Saga Jaya Kabisati Hunloka Ujaga Ramadutta Atulita Baladhama Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanama Mahavira Bikram Bhajarangi Umati Nevada Sumati Kesan Kanchana Varana Viraja Subesa Kanana Kundala Kunchita Kesa Hat Bajrora Dvaja Viraja Kande Munja Jane Usade Shankara Suvana Kesari Nanda Teja Pratapa Mahajagabanda Vidyavan Guni Ati Chaturama Kanja Karibeko Atu Prabhu Charitra Sunibeko Rasya Rama Lakhana Sita Manabasya Sukshma Rupa Darsiya Hindekava Vikata Dare Lanka Jara Himarupa Dare Asura Sahari Ramachandra Ke Kad Samvama Laya Sajivana Lakana Jiyaya Shri Raghuvira Har Shira Lai Raghupati Kinhi Bohut Barai Tumama Priya Bharatai Samabhai Sasabadan Tumaro Jasagao Asakahi Shripati Kanta Laga Sanakatika Brahmadi Munisa Narada Sharada Sahita Ahisa Yamakubera Digapala Jahante Kabi Kobida Kai Sake Kahante Maupakara Sugriva Inkinha Rama Milaya Raja Padadinha Tumaro Mantra Bibishanaman Keshwara Bhai Sabha Jagajan Yuga Sahasra Jojana Paravan Ilyotai Madhura Palajan Prabhu Mudrika Mele Mukamahi Chala Dilange Gaya Achara Janahi Durgama Kaja Jagat Ke Chete Sugama Anugra Tumare Te Rama Duare Tumara Kohare Hotana Agya Bina Bezar Sab Sukh Lahe Tumhari Sharana Tumhara Chaka Karu Kodaran Apan Tej Samaro Ape Tino Loka Hanka Tenkampe Uttasashan Katanahi Ave Mahavir Japanam Sunave Nase Roga Hare Sabapir Japata Nirantara Hanumatabir Katate Hanuman Churave Manakrama Bachana Dhamma Jolave Sabapara Rama Tapasvi Raja Tinake Kaja Sakala Tumasaja Or Manorat Jo Koilave Sove Amita Nirana Palapave Charon Yuga Padatapa Tumara Parasida Jagata Ujjiyar Sadhu Santa Ke Tumara Kavar Basurana Kandana Ramadular Ashta Siddhino Nidhi Ke Data Asavaradina Janki Mata Rama Rasayana Tumare Pasa Sadara Ho Raghupati Ke Dasa Tumare Bhajana Rama Ko Pave Janama Janama Ke Dukha Bisara Antakala Raghupara Pura Jai Jahan Jamar Bhakta Kahai Ora Devata Chetana Tarai Hanumata Se Sarva Sukha Kare Sankata Kate Mite Sabapira Josu Mere Hanumata Balabira Je Je Hanuman Gosai Karo Guru Deva Kinai Jo Satabara Pata Karakoi Chutahi Bandi Mahasukoi Oya Pare Hanuman Chalisa Oya Siddhi Saki Gaurisa Tulasi Das Sada Harichera Kijena Hrdaya Mandir Pavanatanaya Sankataharana Mangala Murti Rupsiyara Rama Lakana Sita Sahita Turdeva Sasudabhupa Syavara Ramachandra Padaje Sharanam Mangala Murti Martanandana Sakala Mangala Mula Nikandan Mangala Murti Marutanandan Sakala Mangala Mula Nikandan Yuguru Charan Sarodaraja Nijamana Mukuru Sudhare Paranora Kupara Bimala Jasu Chodhaya Kupala Chari Buddhihina Tanu Janike Sumiram Pavana Kumasiyaram bala buddhi vidya dehu mohin haro kalesa bekar syavara ramachandra pada jai sharanam jaya Hanuman gyana guna sagar jaya kapisa loka ujaga Ramaduta atulita baladama Anjani putra pavana sutanama Mahavira bikram bhajarangi Kumati nevar sumati kesangi Kanchana varana viraja subesa Kanana kundala kunchita kesa Atta bhadra uradvaja viraje Kande muja jane usaj Shankara suvana kesari nandan Teja pratapa mahajagavan Vidyavan guni ati chatur Ramakaja karibe ko atur Charitra sunibe korasiya Ram Lakan Sita manabasi Sukshma rupa darisiya hindakam Kata rupa daralanka charam Hima rupa dari asura sahari Ramachandra ke kaj savari Vaya sajivana lakan jiyaye Raghavira Harshira Lai Ragupati Kinhi Bahut Barai Tumam Priya Bharatai Samabhai Sahasabadan Tumaro Jasagam Asakai Shripati Kandalagam Sanakadika Brahmadi Munisa Narada Sharada Sahita Ahisa Yamakubera Digapala Jahante Kabiko Bidakaya Sake Kahante Maupakara Sugriva Inkina Rama Melaya Raja Padadina Tumaro Mantra Bibhishanamana Lankeshwara Bhai Sabbajagadana Yuga Sahasra Jojana Parabana Ilyotai Madhura Palajan Prabhu Mudrika Mele Mukamahi Jaladilange Gaye Acharajanahi Durgama Kaja Jagat Ke Chete Sugama Anugar Tumare Tete Rama Duare Tumara Kaware Kotana Agya Binu Pesare Sab Suklahe Tumhari Sharana Tumara Chakakaru Kodarana Apan Teja Samaro Ape Tino Loka Hankaten Kampe Bhut Pesashan Katan Ave Mahavira Japanam Sunave Nasero Gahare Sabapir Japata Nirantara Hanumatabir Sankakate Hanuman Churave Manakama Bachana Jana Jolave Sabha Pararam Tapasviraja Tinake Kaja Sakala Tumasaja Oramanorata Joko Elave Sove Amita Jirana Palapave Charam Yuga Paratapa Tumara Parasiddha Jagata Ujiyara Sadhu Santa Ke Tumara Kavari Asura Nikandana Ramadulari Ashta Siddhino Nidhi Ke Data Asavaradina Janki Mata Rama Rasayana Tumare Pasa Sadaraho Raghupati Ge Dasa Tumare Bhajana Rama Ko Pave Janama Janama Ke Dukha Bisarave Antakala Raghubara Pura Jai Jan Janama Hare Bhakta Kahai Aur Devata Chittana Darai Hanumata Se Sarva Sukha Kare Sankata Kate Mite Sab Pira Jo Sumere Hanumata Hamata Balabira, Jai 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 Hanuman Gosai, Kripa Karo Gurudeva Kinai, Jo Shatabar Pata Karakoi, Chutahi Bandi Mahasukoi, Joya Pare Hanuman Chalisa, Hoya Siddhi Saki Gaurisa, Tulasi Das Sada Hari Chera, Kijena Hridaya Mahadev, Bhavanatanaya Sankataharana, Mangala Murti Rup Siyaram, Rama Lakshmana Sita Sahita, Hridaya Baso Surabhupa, Syavara Ramachandra Padaje Sharanam, Mangalamurti Marutanandan, Sakala Mangalamula Nikandan, Mangalamurti Marutanandan, Sakala Amangalamula Nikandan. That line, there's that phrase that we sing between the Chalisas. Mangalamurti, Marutanandan, Sakala Amangala, Mula Nikandan. I don't know if it's written down anywhere, but it's somewhere. And what it means is Hanuman is the embodiment of everything that's auspicious and good. And the destroyer of the root of everything that's inauspicious and bad for us. Mangalamurti, Marutanandan, son of the wind, Sakala Amangala, every single thing that is not helpful for us, that is negative in our lives, anywhere, in our subtle bodies. Sakala Amangala Mula Nikandan, the root destroyer, the root remover of everything that's not helpful for us. What time is it? What does that mean? This is what time it is? It's 4:30? 5:30? What time is it? 20 after?
10 after 5, but Darcy is going to do her auction thing.
Who is? Oh, okay. So the auction is
Closing
just about to end?
5 minutes.
It ends in 5 minutes. So go spend your money, if you have any. We'll sing it again tonight. Once again, it's a meditation, it's a mantra, it's an invocation, it's a visualization. It's a way of entering into more deeply onto the path and more deeply into your heart. Hanuman is Ramaduta. He's the messenger of Ram. The connection to Ram. It's like in New York, there was the 42nd Street shuttle. You get on the east side, you can't get off until the west side. You get into Hanuman, you can't get off until you're in Ram. Because ultimately, Hanuman and Ram are not different. Actually, in one of the many Ramayanas, Ram asks Hanuman, how do you see me? And he says, when I identify with the body, I serve you. When I identify with the soul, you are the whole and I am a part. But when I know what's really happening, you and I are one. So it's a multi-level thing, but at all times. So one time, Maharaji went to Chitrakoot, which is one of the places where Ram and Sita lived for many years, and Lakshman when they were banished from the kingdom. And there's a place on the top of a place called Hanuman Dhara, a big mountain in Chitrakoot, which is called Sita Rasoi, Sita's kitchen. And it's there that they lived for a while, and she would cook the food for Ram and Lakshman. And one time Maharaji went up there with Dada Mukherjee. Now, there's a few books about Maharaji, not only Miracle of Love, but Dada wrote 2 books. One is called By His Grace and The Near and the Dear. And they're worth reading. And of course, there's the books that Parvati put together. So Dada went there with Maharaji, and Maharaji was sitting down there at Sita Rasoi where there's a stream, a little coming up out of the mountain. And Maharaji said to Dada, Dada, after Hanumanji burnt Lanka, he came here to cool off by the stream, by the water. And then Dada told me, he said, then Maharaji said, really kind of just talking to himself, he said, but Hanumanji was always at peace. Always at peace. Even while he's killing the demons, serving Ram, doing everything, he's always in the right place. And that's where we are headed ourselves. When we reach the place where we are connected to our own souls, our own Atma, our own true nature, regardless of what happens in the outside world, we will always be at peace because we're connected deeply to the truth. And Hanuman is one of the many ways to connect that way. So, see you later.